October 6, 1941, 06:12 a.m., near the village of Mutsensk, east of Orel. A ragged mist clings to the tree line as the first muted light leaks over the Russian horizon. Frost still shines on the grass. The mud, that thick, sucking autumn mud the Germans have cursed for weeks, is stiff for now, frozen by the night's cold. It won't stay that way for long. Oberlieutenant Karl-Heinz Meyer leans out of the open hatch of his Panzer III, cold air pinching his cheeks. He scans the stillness ahead. Somewhere in that quiet, beyond the wisps of fog and the wavering line of birch trees, the Soviets are regrouping, or running, or both. The truth is, no one in the 4th Panzer Division really knows. Behind Meyer, the column growls forward, engines rumbling low, treads clattering over the frozen earth. The men are confident, perhaps too confident. Only 12 weeks earlier, they had crossed the border expecting to break the Soviet Union in one lightning summer. Everything had reinforced the idea. Broken Red Army units, captured supply depots, entire divisions collapsing under pressure. And the tanks were laughable. The Soviet T-26s and BT series machines had been thin-skinned, flammable, and hopelessly outdated. German tank crews joked that a Panzer III's machine gun was enough to disable them. But this morning, in this cold, tense quiet, something feels different. He can't explain it. He can only feel it. A faint tremor reaches him through the tank's steel hull. Not the usual rhythm of friendly machines. This pulse is deeper, slower, as if the earth itself were groaning. Artillery? His gunner asks. Meyer shakes his head. No, that's something else. The radio cracks softly. Reports are scattered, incoherent. Soviet armor sighted. Not BTs, not T-26s. Something else. Something big. But the mood inside the German column is still unserious. A loader laughs. Another crewman mutters that the Soviets must be dragging more barn door tanks into the field. Someone says the Russians weld plates on tractors to scare them. More laughter. The Germans had heard rumors of a new tank weeks earlier, a ghost story told by retreating infantry. Thick armor. The battlefield erupts into a frenzy of noise. Clashing steel, panicked shouts, the thudding heartbeat of engines forced to their limits. But beneath it all, there is something else, something subtle. The creeping realization spreading through the German line like frost over glass. The realization that they are outmatched. Oberlieutenant Meyer slams the hatch shut, sealing himself in the dim, oil-scented belly of the Panzer III. Inside, the world shrinks to a cramped metal cave lit by amber instrument bulbs. The gunner swings the turret frantically. Target, left, left! No, it's crossing! The loader wrestles another shell into the breach, hands trembling even though he's trying desperately to hide it. The Soviet T-34 cuts through the fog like a predator, treads ripping open the frozen mud. Its hull is sloped at angles German crews have never even considered. The tank seems to shrug off cannon fire. Every hit that glances off its armor is another shockwave of disbelief. Inside his tank, Meyer hears the clang of impact as a Soviet round slams into their own armor. The hull rings like a church bell struck with a hammer. Dust trickles from weld seams. Someone mutters a prayer under their breath. You can almost feel the tank flinch, he thinks. The gunner fires. Their 50mm cannon barks with a crack that vibrates in the ribs. Smoke fills the turret for a moment. The round strikes the T-34 directly on the turret cheek. Another ricochet. Another defiant spray of sparks. The Soviet machine keeps coming, turning slightly, almost lazily, as if choosing its next victim. Meyer, you cannot penetrate that armor, his gunner shouts over the engine roar. He knows it. Every crew in the division now knows it. The T-34 is not just protected, it's fast.
Alarmingly fast, faster even than some of the light German tanks. Its Christie suspension lets it glide over terrain that bogs down the Panzer III and IV. It rips through soft mud like it's nothing. The Germans had marched into Russia thinking their tanks were the best in the world. The T-34 is showing them how wrong they were. Ahead, a Panzer IV tries a desperate maneuver, turning to aim at the Soviet tank's side armor. But the T-34 is quicker. Its turret snaps around, the gun depresses, and the next moment is
The fog thins just enough for Oberleutnant Meyer to see the full scale of the disaster unfolding across the muddy fields. Dark shapes burn on the horizon. Panzer IIIs, IVs, command vehicles, even half-tracks, each sending a pillar of oily smoke into the gray morning sky. The battlefield that once symbolized German momentum now looks like a graveyard of steel. He raises his binoculars. What he sees makes his stomach twist. The T-34s are not scattered. They are not improvising. They are maneuvering, coordinated, disciplined, executing something dangerously close to a combined arms tactic. A line of Soviet infantry moves behind the tanks, silhouettes darting between the trees, their rifles slung as they keep pace with the armored column. Maxim machine guns are set up quickly, efficiently, no hesitation, no chaos. This is not the poorly trained force the Germans had grown used to routing. This is a Red Army learning, fast. And they are learning how to kill panzers. Meyer hears something through the hull again. A vibration, rhythmic, distant at first. More engines, different engines, a deeper growl. He turns his head and squints into the clearing fog. Another formation. Not T-26s, not BT-7s. More T-34s, and something even larger. A KV-1. A monstrous silhouette, thick as a bunker on tracks. Its armor is nearly twice as heavy as anything the Germans have. Its turret looks like a hammer forged out of raw steel. Its gun, though slow firing, is enough to smash any Panzer flat with one well-placed shot. Meyer feels the air leave his lungs. This is not a skirmish. This is not an ambush. This is an armored counterblow. A deliberate Soviet strike meant to break the German spearhead. He recognizes the danger instantly. So does High Command, though miles away, Heinz Guderian would only understand it hours later when reports begin stacking in front of him like a wall of bad omens. For now, the frontline tankers are the first witnesses, the ones who feel it in their bones. Inside Meyer's Panzer, the radio crackles with a new voice, strained, breathless. To all units, this is regimental command. Hold positions. Repeat, hold positions until reinforcements. The order dissolves into static. Hold positions? The gunner mutters, incredulous. Against that? Meyer doesn't answer. He can't. His mind is racing through possibilities, flanking maneuvers, fallback routes, anything that gives them a fighting chance. But the mud is softening. The ground is eating their mobility alive. The Soviet tanks, with their wide tracks, glide right over it. The driver wipes sweat from his brow. Sir, we're sinking.
Sound returns first. Not all at once, just fragments. A low, vibrating hum. Someone coughing. The faint hiss of something burning. Then a shape resolves in the darkness. Meyer blinks hard, wincing as pain flares behind his eyes. He tastes dust and smoke. The interior of the Panzer III is smeared with soot, wiring torn loose.